Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Life on Par, the podcast where we bring you engaging and interesting career and professional development tips. And I'm so excited about today's show. We are introducing a career that you may not have thought of, but it's something that everybody knows a little bit of something about. We are going to be talking today about sneakers. As you can see, the setup here in the studio, we're going to be talking about the sneaker industry, the sneaker world, whether you're a sneakerhead or not. So I'm very excited to have our guests here today, Commonwealth Customs LLC. I will introduce them in just a moment. But I just wanted to let you know that we're going to cover some great topics. We're going to be very transparent about what it takes to be in the industry, what are the skills that will be helpful in that industry, and something that's very important, how much money you could potentially make. So we're going to talk about all of that today. And as per usual, here at Life on Par, we love to play trivia games and share prizes. So, what we're going to do is have a trivia question from information from each one of our guests. So, if you go to our social media, we'll have instructions there on how to enter the contest, and we're going to send you a prize if you win. So, be sure to listen up to what our guests are going to be telling you today. This is a perfect time to remind you to like and follow us on social media, and that's where you can get into the trivia contest. So let's jump right into it. I am here today with Commonwealth Customs. We have Cornell Kaysen and we have Jonathan Hill. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us, Tangi. Absolutely. Thanks, Life on Par.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you guys. So let me just do a short intro just to tell you a little bit about them. So Jonathan Hill is a co-owner and CEO of Commonwealth Customs LLC. His hometown is Virginia Beach, Virginia, and he's called Charlotte his home since he and his wife located here in 2006. Prior to joining Commonwealth Customs, Jonathan began his banking career while in high school. That's impressive. And serves as a senior technology leader for Bank of America. Cornell Kaysen is a co-owner and chief design officer for Commonwealth Customs LLC. His hometown is Virginia Beach, Virginia. After graduating his master's program in Virginia, he briefly moved to Atlanta and eventually relocated to Charlotte, where he's remained for the past 16 years and currently a CPCC instructor. So that's really impressive. So we can see outside of them having their own business, Commonwealth Customs, they also have like traditional 9 to 5.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
That's right.
really excited to talk to you guys. But before we get into the interview, I just want to share with the audience a video that is going to give them an idea of what you do in your business and kind of show some of your product. So now, Jonathan and Cordell, thank you for sharing that video with us. And I just want to give each of you an opportunity to tell us about yourselves. So tell us about your background, your story, how you came to, create Commonwealth Customs. tell us about any bumps in the road and just, share with the audience. Tell us about yourselves.
Perfect. You want to start or want me to start?
You can go and start it off.
Okay. All right. So as you mentioned, Tangi, not originally from Charlotte, although called Charlotte home now. But I have been in banking for over 25 years, which did start when I was actually in high school. So
Wow.
Cornell and I actually go back. We always say since Big Wheels. We
I like it.
Yeah.
for those of you that might be younger, right? That's tricycle.
Yes.
It was a plastic one.
Plastic.
Everybody
I
had
remember
one,
that,
right? But before elementary school, our families knew of one another, and so Cornell and I, and his cousins and so forth, we all got to know one another very early. But I again started in banking. I actually happened to be taking an accounting class, and the school system that we were in, Virginia Beach Schools, they had a program where based upon what business course you were taking, they would set you up with a job for the summer. So the local school's credit union always kept a teller open during the summer for someone to come in, and I was lucky enough to secure that role for the summer. So I learned very early, right, confidentiality. I was getting the teachers coming in and I was seeing their accounts and
Ah.
confirming
Yeah.
that the teachers
Yes.
make very little.
Yeah.
So I learned confidentiality very, very early. Was
Yeah.
going right back to school and getting taught. So I had to understand and learn right how to continue to respect the teachers, even though I knew from a financial literacy standpoint, not everybody was able to to make ends meet.
Right.
But that was great. It ended up being a fantastic undergirding to a very long financial services career. In that same credit union, 2 years later, because I continued and stayed on past the summer, 2 years later, my would-be then wife walked through the door. She came through the same program from a different school. And when she walked through the door, I was like, good Lord, she fine. Right? I'm going to marry her. That's what I said. I said,
That's
she walked through the door, I'm going to marry her.
I love that.
So she loves for me to tell the story,
Yeah.
right? But I do too, right? Because we're coming up on 20 years married this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. I know I don't look like it, but
You're baby still.
but no, that really served as again the rudimentary or the basics and foundation for the financial services career. She and I both were there, but we knew Virginia Beach was a little bit smaller, right? It's a military town, not a lot of sports, not a lot of culture as it relates to museums and art and things of that nature. And so we knew we had to get somewhere else. We figured out, was it going to be New York or were we going to go down to Miami or whatever that might be. One day somebody walked in the credit union and they were like, well, have you looked at Charlotte? And I was like, North Carolina? I'm
all places.
right. I was like, I've lived in Virginia already. I'm not trying to go more south. But at that time, the wife and I were already married. We took a trip down, stayed in Uptown, and just fell in love with the city. And not too much longer after that, we picked up, relocated to Charlotte. We didn't know anybody, and kind of the rest is history. That really laid the foundation for us. But there was a lot of struggles, trying to figure out how to come into a city that's much larger, right? How to stake your claim for that perspective. How to come in and make ends meet when you don't have a family system that's there, right? You can't immediately tap into folks. So there was a lot of trials and tribulations in trying to figure out how to move forward. But at the end of the day, I am very thankful to my alma mater, UNC Charlotte.
All right.
As an adult, actually, I had a 1-year-old and a newborn. And I was going to school full-time at UNC Charlotte. I actually went to community college. So again, I'm trying to make sure that I lay out the path for you young folks that are taking a listen to this, right? It's not always a one convenient path where you continue to go up in your trajectory. A lot of times you might bounce around and move around, and that's okay because you can still make it. And I'm just a living testament to that. But went to Central Piedmont Community College, got the associate's degree, transitioned in UNC Charlotte. Bank of America and UNC Charlotte had this phenomenal 18-month internship that paid really well. And so I was like, I can mix all my years in financial services, and I love tech. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to get the degree in because the degree was actually the barrier to entry to get into those big corporate skyscrapers in Charlotte. I remember coming here with my resume. I had my suit on, had my hard bottoms, and I was handing in my resume. I now know I was handing the resume in to security guards. and they were looking at me like, that's not how we do this in the larger market, right? But, I was destined to try to get there. But so bounced around ended up the CPCC. I matriculated into UNC Charlotte, got into the internship, which, I called the person. I don't even know how I got the number, but I called the manager like almost every day. Like,
Mhm.
well, can you tell me about the internship? Oh, well, how long does it run? Okay, well, what type of work you doing? Finally, she was like, Jonathan, if you call me one more time, I'm not going to accept you, right? I'm not going to accept the application when you come in. You don't even go to UNC Charlotte yet.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I was like, perfect. I've done my job, right? Again, dropping some gems here, right? Just to make sure
Mhm.
that I was well known. So by the time the application came in, there was no question that I deserved to get an entrance, and it was
Mhm.
basically up to me to pursue it or not make it happen. So I know I said long story short a while ago, but right, I ended up transitioning into Bank of America, and that's really where my career kind of catapulted. That's really where my career catapulted, where I've been able to continue to have success from project management roles to business analyst. I fell into data management and governance around data and audit
Mhm.
components and governance and around risk, and really cut my teeth around operational functions, and that allowed me to kind of ascend to where I am now, where I sit in sustainability from a technology role.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's a
Thank you.
great story. And I really
Amazing.
love how you shared,
Amazing.
you kind of moved around from place to place. And when you came to Charlotte, you didn't really have that network and foundation, but you built it. And the persistence, that's what I really love.
Absolutely.
That persistence. That's great. That's
Yes,
great.
yes. And don't give up attitude. It's all
Yeah.
in your hands.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
No
that.
problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cornell, tell us about you.
Well, that's a hard act to follow right there. I mean,
He got a great story too.
I don't think my story is gonna be like
He
that.
got a great story too. He's saying that for this is for the okey doke right here.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'm just like John. I'm originally from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Then I went to Virginia State. Didn't really know what I was gonna do. I was going there for sports marketing, so I was like, you know what? I don't know what I want to do with this, so I'm gonna keep it on going. My mom pushed me to go to school, so I went to Virginia Commonwealth, and I went there and I got my master's in sports management.
Hmm.
Um, I moved around a lot as far as that, trying to figure out what I was gonna do in the sports industry. Um, so I was working. I pretty much worked for every cell phone company.
Hmm.
Nextel, Sprint, Alltel. So while I was in school, those were my jobs. So my last job was at Alltel, and as I was in school, we had an intern out here to go to the Charlotte Panthers. So went there and met with a lot of big wigs there. Was like, I kind of like the city here, Charlotte, but I still wasn't sure. So kept my job at Alltel. A friend called me and was like, "Hey, they got job positions at Alltel in Charlotte. I'm thinking about moving out there. You should try to move out there as well." And I was like, just like John, Charlotte.
Charlotte.
I was like,
Exactly.
yeah. I was
Right.
like, I don't know
Mhm.
about Charlotte, but she moved out, and then she convinced me to move down here. And when I moved out here, it was pretty weird because all I did was looked up an apartment online and was like, "Yeah, this is where I'm staying." Didn't even come visit anything. So I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
"This is where
Sight
I'm staying."
unseen.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
signed and sealed. And I was like, "Oh man,
Nice.
I hope I made the right decision." So moved out here, continued to work at Alltel, continued to try to pursue the job with the Panthers. The contacts that I had, I lost. So that was a lost call for me. So I continued to work at Alltel. Um, Alltel got bought out by Verizon.
Mhm.
Once Alltel got bought out by Verizon, we pretty much lost our jobs. So I was like, oh man, I'm in a sham now. What am I gonna do? So they gave us our severance package, and then I moved on to trucking. I started driving trucks. So I was like, I'm gonna go and get my CDL. My father pushed me to get my CDL, got my CDL, started driving. I drove trucks for about 7, 8 years. And I
Long
was
haul.
yeah,
Mhm.
I was up and down East Coast, pretty much every state besides Alaska, Hawaii. So I was just moving freight.
Hmm.
And got tired of doing that because, I was always on the road. week to week I'll be gone and not being able to see my kids. So that was real big for me. So I came back home, and a friend of mine was like, hey, man, I could get you a job as a teacher, teaching people how to drive trucks. So I was like, yeah, that'll be pretty good. You know, I have a 9 to 5, be home on the weekends, spend time with my kids. And so I took the job, and I've been doing that now for about 6 years going on now. So right now, all I do is teach people how to drive a truck, which is very, very dangerous.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
They gonna zoom in on that. Dangerous.
Dangerous.
I mean, it's very dangerous because you know it's not like driving a regular car. You got to
Yeah.
make wider turns going around corners, and you got a lot of people. They get in the truck and they're just like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared, and it's like this is what you signed up for, so we got to figure it out somehow, some way. So I do that every day, and of course, you know, I am the chief design officer at Commonwealth Customz, so that's what brought me here today.
Awesome. What I love about your story, among other things, is how you took that leap of faith, just kind of sight unseen. So
Definitely did.
you came to Charlotte, like you heard about it one or two times, and you came and you signed a lease for an apartment, and you made it work.
Made it
So
work. Yeah.
that's really important to kind of have that fearlessness.
And
go
I was
with it.
I was gonna say another thing. When I moved to Charlotte, I was just like John, didn't know anyone, didn't even know he was here because we had lost contact.
Exactly.
Ah,
Yes.
So
okay.
we had lost contact, and maybe I was down here for about a year. He hit me up on Facebook and was like, "Hey man, I see you in Charlotte." Like, yeah, I'm out here. Don't know what's going on though.
Right.
So he was like, "Hey man, we need to link up," and then we
And you
just
guys got back together.
Yeah.
That's
got back
great.
together. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
he skipped over his whole music career too, right? Oh yeah.
Oh, do tell.
Right, he skipped over all that. So look, I mean, he get it honest though. So Pharrell went to our high school, right? So we're from the same high school
okay.
as Pharrell. I mean, he went to a couple high schools, but one of them, and he's still strong in the area. So we got Missy, Timberland, Pharrell, and Teddy Riley's studio was right outside our high school as well.
Oh,
so it was
amazing.
very music rich, from our area, including sports as well, because Allen Iverson, roughly from that same area as well. But he skipped over the whole music scene. Right.
We did used to go to Teddy Riley's studio all the time and sit in there and watch Blackstreet, Teddy Riley, all of those guys do music. So
Nice.
that was a big thing.
MJ was there all the time. Cisco was walking down Virginia Beach Boulevard.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
That's really good. That's really good. So, thank you for sharing your stories. Like, I appreciate that. And I love for our listeners to kind of just get a feel for your background, kind of where you came from,
Right.
some of the steps that you took, so it can be really, inspiring to other people who may be like thinking about, just making a big move and not really knowing if they're doing the right thing or not, but, having that fearlessness and then being very persistent. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about what we're here to really get into today. Sneaker world. So yes, we're going to talk about these works of art, I would say, that are around us. But before we do that, let's just kind of, go around and talk about like what we're wearing right quick.
Got
Let's just, I see some fire down here. What we got?
Corner, you got to kick it off because that's a piece of art.
I love that.
Well, we got the Commonwealth Customz. I designed these here, the 704 shop Air Force Ones with the crocodile print. And they actually matched the hat as well. So shout out to Chris and the whole 704 shop.
Our brothers.
I don't think you've seen that yet, but you'll see them.
Nice.
Yes.
I love those.
And I'm not gonna front, right? Look, I'm not a big sneakerhead. I'm not gonna front on it at all. When I remember, we couldn't afford Jordans. I wasn't getting the brand new sneakers or anything like that. I was getting joked for my sneakers, right, when I was coming up. But Cornell has really introduced me to the sneaker game, and I've got more incorporated and more involved in it as we've continued to progress the business. So, when I see a pair of shoes that I like, a little fire, I go ahead and cop them. So, got these burgundy purple Jordan 5s, and again, just simple heat for me.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. And as for me, so I have a friend here in the studio, Karen Everett, my co host, and you'll be seeing her later on today on the show. Karen loves to joke that I'm a sneakerhead. And I don't think that I am, but maybe I am. I don't know. But I don't even know the name of what I'm wearing today. So, gentlemen,
Jordan 1s,
Jordan
Jordan 1
1,
lows.
classic.
there you go.
Can't go
Classics.
wrong with
There you go.
those.
I just know they're pretty colors.
There
so.
you go. Hey, look, I'm with you. I love the
You
color.
just get what you like. Get what you like. So I really want us to talk about what we see around us today. And then and after we kind of go through all of this, I mean, just amazing pieces, then we'll talk some more about the business. So can you, Cornell, since you're the chief
That's right.
design
Yeah.
officer, can you kind of just talk us through some of these? And
Well, these two sets of shoes here, these are actually samples that we did for UNC Charlotte. So we have a contract with UNC Charlotte right now. So we've
Nice.
been producing, what we do about 200 and
About
about 220, 230 pair of shoes for those.
Wow.
So these are the UNC Charlotte ones here. These are just the Air Raids. These aren't actually Customz. So this a classic shoe that we came up on. So we thought we should put these here. Those are a glitter pair of Customz that
Love it.
I made for John. Just a basic design.
UNC Charlotte all the way, green baby, green.
Then we go with the other glitter pair here. Well, we got two glitter pairs. One of those are mine. The one on the top, I did those for myself as well, just to match a suit that I did for a sneaker ball that we actually threw for UNC Charlotte. And then those other pair are a custom pair I did for John's wife, actually. And
Nice.
she actually inspired me with the glitter. So
Love it. Love it. And what about these here?
and
Sneakers of the gods.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I did forget about those, the gold Nike trainers. So that's an actual classic shoe as well. But the gold makes it exclusive. So want to shout out to my homeboy Kareem.
Absolutely.
He always
Very nice.
he always looks out for us with
Now you're talking about a sneakerhead. Kareem is a sneakerhead.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So he always allows us to be able to borrow his heat.
Very nice. I love it all. So let's talk about Commonwealth Customs. How did the business come to be? Like, did you guys always just have in the back of your mind, like one day I want to, take this sneaker game more seriously and make a business out of it? How did you start this? And just tell us about that.
I'll let Cornell kick it off.
Well, growing up, I always did art. So I was a big fan of art. I was, when I was in high school, I was actually taking college courses and art courses. So I was very, very good. Graffiti art, painting, anything drawing, I could do it. So that was always in the back of my mind, art. But at the end of the day, when I was in high school, I was like, man, there's no way I'm gonna make any money off of art. So I canned it. And like I said before, I was driving trucks. I was doing a couple of legal things while I was driving trucks because they say, hey, don't look at movies and things like that while you're driving. So I'm driving trucks and I'm watching YouTube and sneakers come up. This guy, he was like, hey, this is what you do to this shoe and this is how you do this. And I'm a real big sneakerhead, been one from day one. As long as anyone's known me, I've always had fresh shoes. So I'm watching all these YouTube videos, just trying to kill time while I'm riding down the road. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. He's not doing anything I can't do. And that's a gem for you kids out there.
That's right.
YouTube University makes anything happen.
Absolutely.
So with me driving and watching these videos, I began to start buying paints and all the materials that I need just to do a sample, just to see what I can do. And I did one shoe. I showed it to John. He was like, "Oh man, it's okay, but you just changed the color of the shoe."
Go ahead. Like dream killer. You know what I'm saying? That's no, but yeah, yeah.
So I kept pushing, and then I brought it to John. I was like, "John, man, I think I can really do this." I was like, "But I just need a partner to help me out." And he was like, "Hey, man, you've been doing shoes, and I mean, not doing shoes, but actually painting since I've known you. So I'm on board." So with that being said, that's pretty much how everything started right there. Just for the love of sneakers and art right there.
So he knew of your talent and he had faith in what you could do.
Exactly.
And so you guys partnered up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how did you kind of come into like,
Yes.
and what role do you play?
So everything Cornell said absolutely leading up to that place, and just there was a couple of standouts that I remember all the way from elementary to middle school to high school. As far as art goes, and Cornell was definitely absolutely one of the ones that would get recognized. So as soon as he said it, like, from an art perspective, I said, oh, absolutely, it makes sense. And I will support in any way, shape, or form. I didn't know necessarily what it would transform into, what role I would play necessarily. I was like, I have some risk background from a banking standpoint. I probably can bring some operational expertise, but again, I wasn't a sneakerhead. So I didn't know. But what I did do is after he mentioned that, and again, I think, like he said, YouTube University, you don't let anything stand in your way. The persistence, the knowledge is out there. You just have to be willing to go capture the information and leverage it to get to where, your path and what you want to do in your dreams. And he had a dream of being able to, translate his art into a business. So I went back and I started researching. Netflix had just come out with a special or a TV program called Sneakerheads, and so I immediately turned that on, and it was great, and it was a great sitcom, and but it was all immersed in the sneaker world. Really talked about resellers, about the sneaker drops. It talked about everything in a great light comical way. And then I did more and more research. I started seeing, in my corporate career, more and more people accepting sneakers. And so it was just like everywhere. And I was like, oh, this really can be something if we really put our minds to it and our heads to it. So after that, Cornell had done a couple of shoes here and there, but I knew at that point I was actually sitting on a board at UNC Charlotte, one of the alumni boards. And I was like, I'm going to get that group who I know has discretionary income. Right, they've got the funds to be able to pay for some customs,
That's
right? And they don't necessarily have to be sneakerheads. They might get it to be a billboard for their company, right? And we put their company name on it, or maybe they are sneakerheads and they just want some fire. So Cornell, I look, I don't even know what to do. I'm like, Cornell, I don't know what shoe do I get. He was like, just get a white Jordan 1, right? So I was like, okay, sounds good. And then I was like, I don't even know what a Jordan 1, right? I didn't. I'm not gonna front. It was a whole learning curve for me, right? I was like, you need some Stacey Adams. I got you, right? For those of y'all that might not know,
I don't know about Stacey.
right? Exactly, right? Some hard bottom dress shoes, some church shoes, y'all might call them.
Church shoes.
Right, I was like, I got you. So we ordered that white pair, and I was like, again, just do UNC Charlotte for me. So he came and he brought it, and it had some fire, but I was like, no, we got to keep pushing the envelope. I knew in my mind that he was so creative, but we couldn't do what every other sneaker customizer was doing, because at this point, it wasn't necessarily as flooded as it is today, but it was definitely getting to the point where, there was a lot of customizers. There was a lot of social media, a lot of influencers around it. So we really had to differentiate ourselves. And I kept saying, no, I need another print, right? So he had leopard on there. Then he had zebra on there. I was like, no, I need some more colors, right? No, I need a splash here. And so we kept evolving and refining that one design. And I was like, okay, they're ready. And it was right after COVID. We had this huge event on UNC Charlotte's campus, and they invited all of the different alumni boards together. There's lots of different ones for different affinities. And they had kind of a welcome back celebration because we've been doing all of our board meetings via Zoom. And so the sneakers were getting a lot of attention. Everybody was asking me, right? I had on suit with the sneakers. And then the Black alumni chapter walks up to me and says, well, we've been thinking about doing a sneaker ball for homecoming. And we would love for Cornell to come out and just paint right, and be a vendor at the actual sneaker ball. And I was in my head, I was like, "What's a sneaker ball?" Right, right, like
Same.
I've been to it. Like again, I've seen
Yeah.
people in suits and I've seen people in sneakers and I've seen them come together and have a good time to raise money for a fundraiser. But I really didn't know what a sneaker ball was like that. So the rest was kind of history. And I don't want to belabor the point, but that moment was the catalyst for us to go do a ton of research. What is a sneaker ball? How do you inform somebody of what a sneakerhead is? How do you take somebody that has no understanding or varying levels of understanding, if you're talking to a group, and make sure that everybody gets on a baseline of what a sneakerhead is and then what's a successful sneaker ball? So we didn't take that inch that they gave us and said be a vendor. We came back and gave them a full-blown deck on how to throw a successful sneaker ball. And at that point, we became their partner, and we've partnered with them every year. Last year, we had
So my third year going.
yeah, it was our third year. Who our artist was
Chub Rock,
Chubb Rock, and we had
DJ Envy,
DJ Envy. Yes,
and our first one was what? Well, the second one was Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh. Yep, and DJ Cool.
Amazing.
Yes, yeah.
So, just like that, it went from an idea, your passion, your risk management, operations, data background. You're good at doing some PowerPoints, I'm sure.
Non-sneakerhead, exactly.
Non-sneakerhead,
The other
not-
stuff.
the other side.
Yeah.
And this came together to create Commonwealth Customz.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
amazing. And you used your network and your connections, and you saw that UNC was a perfect market,
That's right.
and that's how that came about.
Absolutely. Took the risk, took the chance, and was very intentional about that sneaker being the catalyst, right? The intentionality behind it. Absolutely.
Right. That's amazing. I love that.
I know. I sat back. I was like, I don't know, John.
Yeah.
I don't know, John. I mean, you kept pushing the envelope every time. No,
Yes.
no, but it worked.
Let's talk about, I know you kind of mentioned, so we've got UNC partnership there. You mentioned some people who were at the last sneaker ball, some names that people may know. What other brushes with celebrity have you had? Like, if you can divulge that, or if you want to divulge that.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you speak on that.
No, you go ahead. Speak on that.
I mean, I think the sneaker balls have really been where we positioned ourselves best to be to come in contact with most of our celebrities. The sneaker game in general, especially from a customization standpoint, there are tons of celebrities that want to get something customized, whether that is just paint, whether we're talking about putting Swarovski crystals all over it or studded, whatever the case is. So there's tons of celebrities there. We're waiting for that next big one, right? So if this gets out in the airwaves, right?
Yes.
We're waiting for that big celebrity to say, okay, Commonwealth
Commonwealth
Customz,
Customz.
especially if it's somebody from VA.
Yes.
Especially VA.
Absolutely.
And you have to check out the website. We'll put that information on the screen. You have to check out their Instagram page. And what other social media do you have?
Instagram.
We got Instagram.
Instagram,
Yeah,
yeah.
Instagram is where we do predominant work.
Most of your-
our space. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. So, Cornell, as the chief design officer, how do you get your inspiration? Is it mostly like someone comes to you and says, like, I want this type of sneaker with these colors or representing that? Or do you just kind of sit and think of different designs? Like, how do you come up with these things? Or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. So most of the time, I get people say, "Hey, I want these colors," but then they're not really sure of what type of design they want. So sometimes I try to give them a mock of what type of design I can do, or try to figure out what they're interested in, so I could put some type of relationship with the shoe, as well as the colors for them. So a lot of times I get people, they just say, "Here's the shoe, do what you do." And that's really the hardest part, because I get a lot of that. So a lot of the shoes that I normally get is all from my mind. So, I do research and just try to figure out, look at different art pieces and different colors, color schemes, color waves, and just try to figure out what I'm gonna do and then work my magic.
All right.
And magic it is.
And magic it is. I've seen your work on Instagram, and it's just amazing. So we'll find a way to pull the pictures up. But can you tell us, both of us, like what's your favorite pair
Mm.
from Commonwealth Customs? What's the pair that like stands out in your mind?
It's got to be the ones I did for John because that's what made it all happen. So I mean, without that shoe, we wouldn't even be here.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's
That's
got to be the
important.
number one shoe.
Okay.
So to
Yeah.
me,
Okay.
I don't know about him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
no,
about
no. I
Reed?
like to your point, right? It set the path and set us forward. But I'd say the Panthers one, right? The one that we did for the we have a gentleman that works on the camera crew for Carolina Panthers,
Hmm.
and he wanted to basically document his journey from where he is today back to all the different places that he's worked as he's been on his videography journey. And so we were able to
Mm.
do that with the Panthers background, but put in different logos and document it. And
Wow.
he showcased them on the Panthers bench. He broadcast them. So that was a really great shoe. I think for me, it meant a lot, right, for
Yeah.
that person to be able to document and hold something that was true to them on their actual path through
Yeah.
success.
Amazing,
Yes.
amazing. You guys have had a lot of success and contacts with, great people. So
Yes.
I'm glad, people have, kind of supported you guys.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Strong
awesome,
network.
awesome. So let's talk about just the sneaker industry in general. So you talked about there's a lot of folks out there now that are doing customizations.
Hmm.
They're sneaker conventions that happen where people buy, trade, and sell sneakers.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of see the sneaker industry going? Like, what do you think is going to be sort of the next thing? Like you talked about, kind of pushing the envelope.
Hmm.
Like, what are some things that you think about the industry in general, like now or where it's going in the future?
Um, I think it's kind of hard to tell right now, but me personally, I say right now it's kind of saturated because back when we were growing up, there would be one Jordan 5, one Jordan 6, one Jordan 7. Now you get 20 Jordan 7s, 20 Jordan 8s.
Mm,
So and it's making it harder for a lot of people to figure out what they want. So like right now, a lot of shoes are just sitting on the shelves because they're making so many pairs so quick. Um, but I think it's definitely going to move over into the customization side because a lot of people are liking exclusive. So that's a big thing now, exclusive. If you don't have exclusive, a lot of people don't want it. Or if it's hard to get, a lot of people are trying to get it. And it's it's hard to get those type of shoes. So say for instance, the shoes you have on now,
mhm,
I mean, if they only made one color, that would be an exclusive shoe. But being that
mhm.
they make multiple colors, I mean, you can go out and get them anywhere, and people are just like, well, I don't want the blue color, let me get the red color. I don't want the red color, let me get the green color. So with all of that, it's just hard to tell where it's gonna actually going in the sneaker culture. But me personally, I think it could go up or down, but exclusive is going to be the move as far as in the sneaker culture right now because, you know, they might have a Travis Scott and that shoe would be $1,500, and but people will pay $1,500 for that shoe. Not me,
Right,
not
right.
me,
Let's
not
get
me,
straight.
Yeah,
not
I don't
me.
have those kind of coins, but
Right.
yes,
With my checking
yes.
account
Not
set
me,
up.
but and that's the crazy thing because like earlier, like John said, $100 pair of shoes, my parents won't get me that. So,
Hmm.
my limit, 150, 200, maybe 300, just depending on the shoe. But now it's like kids, you like, hey, how you get that shoe? You don't even got a job and
Right,
you got a $1,500 pair of shoes
right.
on. So it's up and down.
Yeah. So you see more of those partnerships. So like you mentioned, like Nike with some celebrity
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
Adidas with some celebrity. So you think that kind of thing is going to continue?
It's definitely gonna continue. And that's what
Hmm.
makes the exclusive shoe.
Hmm.
Like the Travis Scott, the Drake OVOs, and
Bad bunnies.
yeah, the Bad Bunnies,
Hmm.
yeah, those type of shoes. Those are all exclusive shoes, and if you look at the prices of those shoes, they're sky high.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of prices, that kind of brings me to my next point because we want the audience to really think about like these careers that we're presenting to them. And a big factor in what career choice you make is like what kind of living can it afford you. So, um, just thinking about some of the different roles in the sneaker industry, like what kind of money do you see people making? How lucrative is this?
Yeah, I mean, from a customizer's perspective, I mean, it depends on, again, I think back to Cornell's point on the one of ones, right? When you're making a one of one customized shoe, and depending upon how elaborate it is, so you put Swarovski crystals on there
Hmm.
versus fake crystals. We're talking about a lot more command, but
Mhm.
customizers absolutely could easily make six figures a year, right? For customizing shoes, and they might not have to do that many shoes depending on who they're customizing it for. You
Hmm.
happen to be able to work your brand up well enough to do something for a Chris Brown, right, or something
Hmm.
of that
Hmm.
nature. I mean, you could easily be, five, six, seven, $10,000 for one pair of shoes that you're
Wow.
customizing.
Wow.
Cornell and I were actually talking as we were getting ready for this. I think the the customization market definitely commands and demands a dollar amount, but the actual sneaker game is really demanding a dollar amount as well. Like you can
Mm.
go on social media on many people's accounts that are rating different shoes and see the last shoe that went for 10,000 or the last shoe that went for $25,000. And I think when we brought in or when StockX, right, which is a company that tracks sales, and they also became a reseller. So resales, right, went through the roof. I can go buy it when it drops, the shoe, for $150, $200. Then I can go take it to my store and resell it for 400. I can basically set up shop right across the street from Foot Locker and
Yeah.
resell it for
Wow.
400, right?
Mhm.
And that just opened up a whole new market of people. You got folks that are deconstructing shoes, right? Take it apart, put it back together, make it look different. But then you also have, that comes with risk because Nike is saying, hey, from a legality standpoint, this is our intellectual property, right?
Mm.
We
Hmm.
sold the shoe as is, you purchased the shoe as is. When you deconstruct it and put it back together, or when you customize it, you can't represent it as if this is coming from Nike, which there's
Mm.
a lot of people
A
that
whole
have
lot
done
of
that.
people doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's litigation and
Gotcha.
and lawsuits, from Nike, from customizers, which makes it a bit challenging when in fact you have somebody like Cornell that lives and breathes art and trying to put that on a
Hmm.
shoe for an art piece, or someone that buys a particular shoe and maybe they want to put their wedding date on it, or
Mm.
they're in Greek and they want to put when they crossed on it, or they want to just celebrate some sort of momentous occasion and they're putting it on there, or their business. So um, you know I know I went a couple of different paths with that question, but just really exposing the whole sneaker world,
Yeah.
and even StockX that's able to track the data. To your point earlier, I'm a data
Hmm.
guy, right?
Hmm.
Data,
Hmm.
numbers, right?
Hmm.
Spreadsheets.
Hmm.
That's what I
Hmm.
like. So StockX was a company that was able to start tracking the sales of the shoes. So you have a historical reference of how much shoes are going for. So much so that actually it was again I was telling Cornell this. I had a good friend that unfortunately had a very large collection stolen, and
Mm.
but he had pictures of all of his shoes, and the insurance company was able to use StockX to validate what the price of the going rate of the shoes, and that's how they justified the dollar amount of the
Amazing.
check of the insurance claim, right?
Okay.
And so that to me, just open up the floodgates on what the sneaker game is and how you can make it lucrative. And 10, 15 years ago, actually I shouldn't say that, I don't even remember when StockX started, but let's say 20 years ago, right,
Hmm.
there was no company that was keeping track of just the sales
Hmm.
of sneakers, and
Hmm.
that created a whole new lane, whole
Yeah.
new innovation, whole so the sneaker game there's a lot that probably hasn't been discovered, but there's a lot of saturation. There's a lot of mass reproduction. There's a lot of deconstruction that goes against legalities. But I think that there's a lot more that can be pushed as far as the envelope is concerned around
Yeah.
sneakers.
Awesome. That's really interesting to know. And I love the structure and the formality that's being placed around this industry now. I feel like when the sneaker culture kind of, came to the forefront, it was just something some people were doing,
Sure,
you know.
sure. Fad.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And now it's a whole like formal thing. So I love
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
It's
I love
crazy to me
that.
because I've been there from the jump.
Yeah, from the beginning. So
Yeah.
you've seen the whole evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So thank you for sharing that.
absolutely.
Let's see, what kind of skills, and you've kind of talked about this as you've shared your background and kind of how you came into this, but what other skills do you think would be helpful to someone who's watching right now that is thinking, yeah, I have a passion for sneakers, I'm a good artist, um, what are some of those skills that you think they need in order to be successful in this industry?
Mm. You want to kick us off?
Uh, I mean, like you said, they're definitely going to need a passion for art. So, I mean, if they don't know how to paint or draw or whatever it is they need to do to customize the sneakers, they're going to have to figure that out in YouTube University.
Yeah.
That'll get you there every time. So, I mean, that's one thing, and um, another thing is you definitely going to have to have the grind and the hustle, the grustle.
Absolutely.
Because I can say, me personally, working a 9 to 5 and doing this, it's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of long days. So I mean, they're definitely going to have the mind frame and the focus to get there, to be where they want to be. Um, what we have also, I mean, you're gonna have to have the capital as well to get your paints, your paint brushes, your glues, whatever it is that you're gonna. It's a lot of tools and things that I use. I mean, what you see is just the final product, but it's a lot more that goes into it.
Goes into
So,
it.
I mean, you're gonna have to know what steps to take before you paint, how to prep a shoe, how to tape a shoe. So all of that you're gonna have to know to definitely get started. I know you got a lot more to say, John.
No.
I know.
No, I think it's important that you really hit on both sides, right? Because there are hard skills that you need to understand and you need to learn, and there is absolutely some soft skills that you need to have in here as well.
Right.
I mean, just from a confidence standpoint,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, I can do this, right? I can take the step. I can move forward. A lot of times we get in our own way and get on our own path, but sometimes you just got to get out there and do it,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
what we were talking about when we got the UNC Charlotte order, right? There's 120 sneakers all of a sudden,
Yeah.
right? And we've
Yeah.
been doing 1, 2 here and there,
Yeah.
and trying to figure out how to make that work. And all of a sudden we got an order for 120. Now we have to figure out, how do we mass produce, go from a one of one to a mass production. And then I remember,
Go ahead, tell the
look, I was going over to Cornell's house again after both of us worked our 9 to 5, going to his house in the garage, and I was just sitting etching out letters, right? Because you get the vinyl and then you put it on the shoe, and we got a couple of videos of that. But you have to peel off the letters that you want to actually put on the shoe. So there's like all these supplementary and things that you have to do on the side other than just painting. So I'm taping shoes, right? Putting tape so that we can only put the paint on the areas. I'm taking the letters out, and it's like the third week that I'm doing this, and I don't see really no shoes getting done. And I'm like, Cornell, we just got to put some paint on the shoes. Let's just figure it out. Hey,
just get one shoe.
One pair done, right? So you just got to get out your own way
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
and just do it.
Just do it.
It's a process,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everything is a process. Once you get comfortable with the process, like, I know I'm not going to have it figured out the first time, but I'm going to fail forward, learn,
That's right.
and continue on with it. So getting out of your own way, making sure you have the confidence. You got to be a lifelong learner as well, right? YouTube University has broken down tons of barriers as far as having the knowledge or the skill set or an area that I can go get the knowledge from, or a person, right? Before you had to actually know someone in the industry, right? Or you had to be able to have money to go to a school or to download a course. YouTube University, which is free, now makes it accessible. But you've got to be willing to go out and have the consistency and the confidence and be a learner to go take that information, leverage it, and then become a practitioner of that information. So, I mean, I love how you hit on the hard skills, because I'm not a painter. I'm not an artist, right? When we had them 120 shoes, I was learning how to do some. I was learning some strokes. Now, I was putting some green on the toes, but yeah, there's a lot of, I think, not necessarily just in shoes, right? I think that goes across life, right? Some of those soft
definitely.
skills.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. And I think this is a good way to close out the show because you guys have hit on it, and I just want you both to reiterate to our audience that they can do it.
Oh,
Yeah, you can
They
absolutely.
can
definitely
do it.
do it. You gotta have that grind and that hustle,
Yeah.
that grustle.
Yeah, I like
You
that.
know,
That
and
Russell.
I'm gonna say one more thing, and then I'm
Mhm.
allowed to wrap it up. But for 2024, my word that I've consistently tried to showcase and discuss is ecosystems, right?
Mm.
So I think a lot of times we feel like we got to go on our own, right?
Mm.
Cornell was like, "Hey, John, I think this makes sense." I was like, absolutely, right? But it was just the two, that he and I, right? Just the two of us. It really takes ecosystems. So I'm big on, hey, who in my peer group that's on the same level as me that I'm gonna connect with? Let's go through this struggle together. And it doesn't have to be crabs in a barrel, right? That's the actual term that some of you may not be familiar with, but right, like in order for me to do well, I got to make sure that this other person doesn't succeed, right? Or if you're doing well, I got to go grab you and bring you back down because I'm trying to get out, right? That's where the actual crabs in a bucket, if you've ever seen crabs trying to get out of a bucket, they pull each other back down. But it doesn't have to be like that,
Right.
right? It's not a net sum zero game where I can't be successful because you're being successful, or you can't be successful because I'm being successful. So own your own peer group, connect with folks, but then you also have to look ahead of you, right? Who is actually doing what you want to do and they're doing it well? How can I connect with them? How can I get a mentor? And the last thing that I say for everybody, because there's lots of different, like if you think about yourself in the center and you put a lot of things around you so that you're successful, these three things to me are the most critical. The ones, again, on your peer group, someone above you that's a mentor, but then who are you also bringing up with you, right? As you climb, who are you lifting with? Who are you sending the elevator back down for as you continue to excel and rise up as well? So
Yeah.
if you have those three covered, to me, you're starting to build a great ecosystem, and it's going to just ensure success for you.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you both so much.
Absolutely.
This has been amazing. I'm sure our audience has learned a lot
I
today.
hope.
I've learned a lot. So thank you for sharing and just being so transparent.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having
Thank
us.
you for
Yeah.
having us.
Absolutely.
And,
Most definitely.
as we wrap this up, I'm just going to remind everyone once again, we're going to have some questions out there on social media. You can win a prize. You go to our social media for RLE Go For It Foundation, and we'll give you instructions on how to do that contest. And since our organization that I represent, Go For It, since we are focused on golf, um, how do you guys feel about like just maybe joining me out there on the green and hitting a few balls?
I
Do you
mean,
have skills? Like, I mean, I know like you're an artist and you're a
I
data
mean,
person, but like,
I'm
can
an
you hit a
athlete.
golf ball?
I'm an
Like,
athlete
what's
now.
up?
I'm an athlete, so
Okay.
I play to win.
All right, Cornell sound like he's ready.
look,
I play
I'm
to
just
win.
trying to make sure there's no car windows around us, right? Like that's all I'm saying. But
I got it.
I'd love to get out there and take a swing or two.
Okay, all right. So you guys will join me out there and we'll hit a few balls and talk a little bit about golf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us for this session of Life on Par.
So we're out here, we're getting ready to do our golf portion of our Life on Par segment with John and Cornell. We've brought in a golf pro, Raina Pozo, and she's going to give us a few tips and pointers on how to swing these clubs. And we're probably going to do a little trash talking, but for the most part, we're going to learn some basic tips here. Raina, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be back. I'm here to give you guys some tips, tricks, and tools for the game of golf. Today we're going to be focusing more so on posture and body placement as well as ball placement. So you're going to notice I have my guys and my gals set up in what I like to call the box. The box is a good way to check your posture as well as your ball placement if you're ever feeling a little bit off and you're not a little bit sure. So let's go ahead and get into our check. This front line of our alignment stick is going to be used for our feet. We like to make sure that front line, our toes are nice and up to that line, and our feet are shoulder length apart. We want to make sure that at all times through your swing that you keep your feet nice and even and shoulder length apart. Our second alignment stick that you're going to find in the center of our players here is specifically used for ball placement. So when we think about ball placement, our ball placement is going to consistently change when we're working with different clubs. So I believe I have you with a 7-iron and someone with a 6-iron.
Yes.
With our 7-iron, our ball placement is going to be more toward the center of the body, okay? Ball is going to be nice into the center. With our 6-iron, we might start moving that ball just a little bit forward as we start to work with our woods and a little bit more of our longer irons. but it's always a good way to check if you're not sure about your ball placement. Keep that stick in the middle as well as that line in the front. Same for my lovely in the back here. Want to make sure that our posture is nice and even. Good and good. From here, we're going to start working our way up and working on that swing. So now, when we think about our takeaway, the first thought process is extension. We want to make sure that we're drawing that club back and having a nice full extension in our body and our arms. I'm going to have all my players get into your setup, please. Good. Good. Push your hands too far forward. Good. Very nice.
Y'all see
Now,
my setup.
very good. All right. So we're actually going to use our front line again for a point of reference for our extension. So what we're looking for is if I were to attach a string to the end of our club here, okay, and we're going to draw that club back as if someone is pulling that club straight back. That motion is going to be, if we're using this line as a point of reference, bringing that club straight back and along that line and seeing that nice even parallel in the shoulders and in the arms. Good. Start sitting back. Good.
And then our
Good.
left-handed one back here.
We love our lefties. Very nice and even.
I gotta get it up some, huh?
One more time. Good. So from here, we're going to work on that shoulder and that body turn. Always remember that this is a game of full body movement. We are using the full body at all times. So we've got our beautiful extension going back. From here in that extension, once we draw the club back, we're going to see that rotation in the shoulders and the hips. So where we're going to have that slice push in. Good. And coming up nice and even. Beautiful. Draw that club back. Good. So we have a slight overextension here. It's okay. Slight overextension. So go back to the top of your swing.
Oh.
Good. Up. Good. So what we want to see is I want you to keep that front arm here. And we're going to bend our little chicken wing back here. Good. Nice and even right about here. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're not going to overextend back to where we lose our posture. We're going to come out where our arm is not front straight anymore. We want to make sure that it's nice and straight into the front. Good. Beautiful. Back to the top of your swing.
There we go.
Good. Very nice. Hold that beautiful posture. Good. Good. My one.
I'm the one. Too high?
Yep, too high. So we want to make sure that when we have an overextension, the easiest way to see an overextension is when your chin is touching that shoulder. So we want to make sure that there's no full connection there. We'll have a little bit of separation between the shoulder and the chin to make sure that we're not coming too over top of our swing right here, okay?
Gotcha.
Nice and even, keeping that front arm straight, that back arm bent. We also want to make sure not to get what we call a chicken wing. A chicken wing is where our back arm sticks out and we're swinging more like a baseball bat. You're not swinging a baseball bat. Nice and even right here. Good. Good, good, good. You're fine. Nice.
Little.
Straighten this arm just a smidge more. Good. Here we're going to have a little bit of a tuck.
Oh, bump.
About here. Nice. Much better. Only thing that's going to say I would change, came up a little bit straight, so now we've lost our posture.
Okay.
So go back into your setup, please. Always want to make sure that we keep that nice, even posture. So I want you to push the hips back just a little bit more. There we go. Slight bend in the knee. Yes. You're going to extend your hands out, even though my clubs are a little bit short for you.
Got it.
Good. Go ahead and extend back. Beautiful. Almost. A little flexibility in there. Good. Back to the top.
That chicken wing in.
You see me put it in quick.
I saw it snap here before she saw it, but I had to let her know.
Good. Good. Good, good, good. Go ahead and go to the top for me, beauty. Good. Very nice.
Tuck that
Very
thing in
nice.
quick.
Good takeaways, good setup. From here, we're going to work on that downward finish. So when we're thinking about making that downward finish into the golf swing, we want to think about making a tiny squat into the swing. So we're not looking for anyone to sit down and come in. What we're looking for is that body motion to come down to a slight squat, not a full squat, a slight squat to come down through to our swing, and we're going to finish up nice, tall, and firm, okay? We want to make sure everyone is standing up nice and tall toward the end of their swing. We're going to start nice and easy, go to the head to the top of your swings. Good, hold. Good. Good. From here, hold. From here, we're gonna work on that downward motion. We're gonna start working our bodies down nice and slowly. Good, good, good. Now, you're going to turn. So from here, we're looking for what we call the trophy pose. That's when we're going to turn our back foot out and complete that full turn with the body and with the hips. Come back through. The goal, bend for me, is to get you here. That is the goal.
Gotcha.
Down and through. Good. Yes, good correction. And turn. Yep.
Even more. Wow.
Yep.
That's that Tiger Woods
We're looking
slow-mo.
for that Flexibility.
That's what's on your shirt right now.
Flexibility.
Yeah, right.
Rotate.
I feel like I got to get in the weight room to swing this.
Always important.
Flexibility.
Flexibility. You want to make sure you have that full rotation at completion of the swing. And push. Come through. Good. Rotate. Beautiful.
That back,
Nice.
boy. Whew.
Good. Push.
Woohoo.
Very nice. Good. Push. Nice. Very good. Nice smooth swings. Quick. Simple. Our few tips and tricks to remember. If you ever need any tools for your bag, always remember that you can get alignment sticks. Alignment sticks are always great to have in your bag to check your posture, to check your alignment, to check your feet, to check your distance, whatever you need. For today, we worked on posture. Always remember to keep the feet nice shoulder width apart. We're going to extend our arms back, shoulder turn, hip turn. We're going to come down, make our nice little squat into our swing, come through, and finish up nice and tall. One more time from you guys. Nice. Nice. Yes.
That lower back.
Age coming out.
Yeah, you
boy.
ain't lying. I'm gonna tell you what's bad when you see an older person get up on that tee box and it's like gone. Like, okay.
So we ready to take it out to the course and do some little
Hey, let's go.
hit some balls?
I like it.
Okay.
I like
okay.
it.
Thank you so much, Miss Raina, for sharing
Yes.
your expertise
Yes,
with us.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Anytime.
We do sneakers and we do golf. We do
That's
it
right.
all.
We do custom golf.
custom golf
That's
shoes.
right. That's right. Thank you for
We do
having
it
us
all.
Life on Par.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
y'all
This
for
has
everything.
Been great.
Thank you, Raina.
Peace and out.
Thank you.